Hello, welcome to South Sudan Diversity. My name is Chito. As you all aware, South Sudan National Dialogue work is complete and South Sudan President Salva Kiir Mayardit delivered the first statements on a national dialogue after a committee finished their works and they listened to his speech.
رجعنا بيزنس زي زمان ايام الحرب ايام النضال كنا بنقول كبرت عشان كده لقينا الحريه لقبة بتاع الشيطان ما يخشنا يا جماعه ما في دوله بتاع قبيله نحن شعب واحد وطننا واحد رئيسنا واحد اسلام نمبر 1 نحن كلنا اسلام We need peace among us. One people, one nation. Let's unite our son. As the music to unite all the people of South Sudan. Let me sing up in the farm. ما في قبيلة ما كرهية في جنوب السودان. ما في دولة بتاع قبيلة. نحن شعب واحد. وطننا واحد. رئيسنا واحد. السلام نمبر 1. نحن كلنا السلام.
الناس يجلسوا. Be seated. My people, I greet you all. Esteemed delegates to this historic national conference, Excellencies, the Vice Presidents of the Republic of South Sudan, Right Honorable Speaker of the Transitional National Legislature, Right Honorable Speaker of the Council of States, all senior government officials, Your Excellency Maulana Abul Alier, co-chair of the National Dialogue, and Your Excellency Angelo Beda, co-chair of the National Dialogue, the rapporteur of the National Dialogue, Honorable Bonamal Almaduri, religious leaders, members of the National Dialogue Steering Committee and Secretariat, members of the diplomatic community, representatives of AU, representatives of UN, and RJAMEC, distinguished special envoys from the region, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all in the name of our country, the Republic of South Sudan. On 14th December 2016, I had the honor to launch this great event whose conclusion we are now witnessing today. When this work started, not many people thought it would arrive at where we are today, sharing views gathered from the grassroots in the duration of almost 4 years on a national platform. What this process has achieved is commendable, and for this I would like to thank the national co-chairs, Maulana Abel and Honorable Angelo Beda, for steady leadership. For steady leadership they have provided during this process. I would also like to thank members of the steering committee led by Honorable Bona Malo Almadut and Ambassador Dr. Francis Madingdeng for the incredible support they have given in guiding this process. Let me also recognize the Secretariat of the Steering Committee for their efforts in ensuring grassroots views are gathered, documented, and shared in the conference. Those involved in this process from its inception know that we have received substantial support from our regional and international partners. I would like to thank these partners for overcoming thoughts cast on the value of national dialogue in certain quarters from the start, and for availing both material and technical resources to support us. Specifically, I would like to thank the Japanese government for their contribution, and UNDP for the stewardship it provided during this period. By the way, the Japanese are among few donors we have that do not attach any strings to their support. Last but not least, I would like to thank you, the delegates who traveled to Juba from different corners of our country to participate in this conference. Your presence here signals your desire to contribute towards shaping the future of your country. Let me also congratulate you for candidly sharing your views at grassroots, at the regional conferences, and here at the national conference. The issues you raise deserve full attention of your leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, your views on numerous issues affecting our country at multiple levels on governance, security, economy, and social cohesion have been heard. There is no doubt that the outcome of national dialogue represents the views of the broad cross-section of our society on the issues raised. This means there is no question about the legitimacy of this process. With this in mind, we need to remind ourselves that what has been produced in this process must be harmonized with a permanent constitution-making process. Which is provided for in the revitalized peace agreement. The revitalized peace agreement is not merely an integral part of our constitution. It is in this essence our fundamental law itself. And all other processes, including the national dialogue, must ultimately be reconciled with it. Yes, the national dialogue has been broad-based, bottom-up consultations. The revitalized agreement, on the other hand, came as a result of talks between political elites, which makes it narrower in scope. However, the agreement has constitutional sanctity that the national dialogue lacks, despite its popular legitimacy. Therefore, we should not attempt to replace the agreement with the consensus reached through the national dialogue, but rather use the national dialogue as a guide to enrich the forthcoming permanent constitutional making process that the revitalized peace agreement mandates. Esteemed delegates, the last 4 years of this national conversation have not been easy. At the beginning of national dialogue, I was accused of using this process to dodge the responsibility of finding a peaceful settlement to the conflict in the country. Others objected to this process on the basis that it was not inclusive enough, despite the fact that the process was designed to reach our communities wherever they reside. Today, the presence of these delegates in this hall and the rich discussion that went on from the start of national dialogue and in the last 3 weeks here in Juba clearly demonstrates that the accusations leveled against me and the process have turned out to be false. The organizers of this national conversation, for example, have fulfilled their mandate as demonstrated by the cross-section of our society represented in this hall. The views expressed by you, the delegates, throughout this process have not been approving of any party inclusion. The SPLM that was accused of initiating national dialogue to save its soul, and the peace process I was accused of replacing with the national dialogue is now under implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not raising these points to defend myself from what has been said since this process is started. I am raising them as a way of sharing with you what I believe to be part of our problem. What you have discussed in the last 4 weeks and the resolutions you have come up with in this process will only serve our country if we reassess ourselves in 2 critical areas. First, we need to reassess ourselves. We need to reassess our tendency to readily accept external models that ignore our history. Secondly, we also need to examine our attitude towards our laws and institutions. Since 2005, we have been falsely assured that templates of thematic experience of what has worked for others will work for us. We have been told again and again to adopt these models by people who in most cases do not understand our context. At times, even those who know our experiences cannot resist to overlook our specific history in the quest for templates of what has worked in other countries. And when things do not go as planned, the same people turn around and blame us for not implementing what they have pushed with no consideration on our specific context. I know we are all united in our aspiration for a democratic South Sudan, but let us work towards this goal within our specific context. Any wholesale adoption of any governance system, as advised by those seeking to import their model at the expense of our context, will be counterproductive. No governance system can endure if it is not shaped by its political environment. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the failures that this national conversation has blamed on the SPLM leadership are rooted in our attitude as a people. I am going to speak about few issues in the opening of this conference to illustrate my point on our attitude. Part of what determines progress in any society is the attitude of its population towards its guiding laws and regulations. The laws in our books are comparable to what exists in other countries. But have we really allowed what these laws say? Has our attempt to enforce the law been welcomed in certain quarters? Take the 2013 crisis. This crisis would have been avoided if we respected what the law has stipulated. The elections were 2 years away, and because of our poor attitude towards our institutions, some of us decided it was okay to attempt to take power when the mechanism we have adopted for peaceful transfer of power was 2 years away. The SPLM government created the institutions which was violated because of our attitude. We forgot that the way we interact with our institutions promote or retard their development. As part of the broader reflection, let us look inwardly and work to correct our attitudes towards how we relate to our institutions. I would also like to briefly say something about the claim that the liberators have monopolized everything, including power. This assertion is not true, and it was not born out by facts. We have been inclusive. We have been inclusive politically since 2005. The SPLA, from its start, did not take up arms for personal benefits. Let me remind you about what a lady said here before, that I rebelled from Malakal. And I fell and kundu fi Malakal, and when I rebelled, I drove my car out of the garrison and went to Doleb Hill. From there, I was following the Soba River, Lagait Mali Sumushunu. Oh God. Loman Wazal Nahinak, I pushed my car into the river. Because even if I ban it, it will be seen that this is where they have abandoned the car and they have crossed from here. And the helicopters will hunt for us in the bushes of Unulam. So I told my colleagues that let us push it into the river. Among the colleagues who were with me, Major General William Dengarang is now a prison officer, and he is alive. General Ejuangwakwer is also alive. So we pushed the car into the river, and while it was sinking, I stood for a moment and I said, Ita Arabiada, Makatal Nak Sakit, Bedur. The Fiwokedeno, the car was sinking, and I go to Lowita, Katalnak, for the greater good of South Sudan. When I go to Loanama Mutu, during the struggle, and I give Alif Land Rover Zeita Kede. You can count Arabad al fi junub finde da kaun al fi shawari bita Juba barau kam whether somebody bought his car wala kuma jabu del aktar min Land Rover kan talana bara min malakal bew. So I want to answer what is being said about the Liberators having monopolized everything. No, we have been fair enough, sharing everything with even those who did not participate, even those who were against us during the liberation. So let us really look at our things correctly in our perspectives so that we don't make mistakes pointing fingers against one another. Let me also say something in passing about the land issue, specifically on the background why the SPLM negotiating team in Naivasha insisted on the position that land belongs to the communities, which was the basis of the most quoted statement from late leader Dr. John Garang de Mabior on the same issue. The SPLM demand on communal land rights was intended to guard against the effect of two Sudanese legislation on land ownership, specifically in South Sudan. The first law we were guarding against was the Unregistered Land Act of 1970. This law stipulated that any unoccupied land belongs to the government. الناس اللي كانوا موجودين في وقت ده know this law. This was done with a total disregard to traditional community ownership of land. The second law was the Civil Transaction Act of 1990, which also denied any recognition of customary land rights and asserted that the land in the country belongs to Allah and the state was only the inheritor. يعني البلد land كله بتاع الله والستيت يعودوا للبيجي بيحفظوا نيابة عن الله. We resisted that.